Welcome back. Presidential Special Advisor on Social Policy, Professor Olive Shisana, says South Africa's femicide rate is 9 times higher than the global average. Last night, President Cyril Ramaphosa said that gender-based violence was South Africa's second pandemic. This afternoon, the body of a 3-year-old little girl was found in a veld in Orange Farm, south of Johannesburg. Well, crimes against women and children have increased as lockdown regulations have been eased. Earlier, after the brutal murder of Uyinene Mwetyana in 2019, government released an action plan to combat gender-based violence. A report on the 1.6 billion rand plan emergency response action plan was released last month. Let's find out tonight how police are integrating that into the fight against gender-based violence. And we're joined via Skype by the Minister of Police, General Bheki Cele. General, thank you for being with us. Minister, let's start with the overall picture. And you've responded to this recently. There's been a lot of criticism leveled at police because thousands upon thousands of people have been arrested or fined for breaking lockdown regulations. People are asking, where is the same vigor around gender-based violence? They've asked you to take a stand against it. Are police doing their jobs?
Well, I think that kind of blaming the police of late has not been very much fair. You heard President speaking and commending the police yesterday is because I think the problem we had since the beginning of June, even before that, almost we have arrested everybody or most of the people that have committed those cases. They've been arrested. Unfortunately, there would be some kind of selection reporting of some that have been reported, arrested, and don't report everybody that has been. But I think at this time I can simply say police have really responded and they've done their job.
All right. We heard this even before the lockdown from women's groups especially, that women sometimes approach police for help and they're not taken seriously. This very week from one of our interviewees, we heard about a case where police didn't come when called for domestic abuse. Hours later, a female friend took the woman who was being abused to the police station and they said it's a domestic affair. Go and try and work it out. What are you doing about those specific attitudes, Minister?
Well, Francis, we are really talking to the police, but let me say the special unit has been created, the FCS, in South Africa to deal with the gender-based violence. There are 185 of these units around the country based on our clusters, but we have also 10 of them that are specializing around the country, specializing on those serious cases like serial rapists. Indeed, when we go to stations, we have trained more people to deal with this. But I would not deny that we still do have a problem of individual police, that they would not understand how serious the matter is. We have created a structure within the police to deal with those matters when we get such information, and then we take action against those police. We have made it very clear, and all members part of the training, that no police officer will send back a woman reporting any form of abuse back to tell that individual to go and negotiate. It's not your job to tell the people to go and negotiate. Your job is to go there and arrest and protect that person. I would not deny that we do have those people, but the big chunk of South African police, they are doing their job.
Yeah. All right, let's look at what's been done. The Emergency Response Action Plan on Gender-Based Violence and Femicide. That was implemented, I understand, over 6 months between October last year and March. 1.6 billion rand. Just tell us how the police are integrating that plan into your departments and about some of the interventions there.
Well, remember, President put it in a way that we must reprioritize. It's not the money that will come from somewhere and say, here it is. we have reprioritized. As I've said, we have increased our units. There are 185 now, Francis. We have increased the number, but we have trained the new members to join those units, but we have retrained the members that have been part of these units for a long time. We have increased the working capacity in terms of giving them tools, including buying cars for them. But one thing that we have made sure that we don't fall under the same pit are the kids. These rape kits. You remember that there was a big cry when our shelves were running empty. We've got a lot of them now. All stations have enough. We've got enough in our reserves, in our warehouse. So we believe we've done enough that we never again run short of those things that are very serious and fundamentally dealing with this violence.
Some of the money, I understand, went to the Thuthuzela care centres, and South Africa has had this historically as sort of a one-stop shop where you can report, you can get tested, you can receive counselling. Are those working in practice? How are they working?
They are. It's both Thuthuzela centres that will be run by both the police and the social development. But on our police stations, ourselves as the police, we have our safe rooms, especially when a woman is abused, let's say in the middle of the night, you will keep her there and make sure that before you hand it over to the relevant structures, to the relevant places, you keep them there for a night. We have those. There are thousands of those. Not all police stations we do have. We've got 1,153 police stations in the country. We have a little bit less. We are working on that to put them all over. But jointly, as we say, they will be taken to Thuthuzela houses, handed over to social workers, could be the South African police social workers, because we do have that facility, or working with the Department of Social Development, that they will hand over to the health workers to assist them and see how forward we take them.
I mean, you're raising a point. Obviously, police don't act alone, and there was a report last year that found there weren't enough shelter facilities, and shelter staff were underpaid. They could not offer the services. So, I mean, are many women stuck? You say they stay with police for a night, but what about night 2, night 3? Do police understand the need for refuge, and are those services there to protect women from their abusers?
Well, as I'm saying, as you are saying, they'll stay for a night with police, but they can't permanently stay there, and we hand them over to the relevant bodies. Those relevant bodies mostly will be the Department of Social Development. Yes, if you say they're not enough, they might not be enough, but having listened to the instruction of the President that everybody must repurpose and rechannel the resources towards that, I hope that together as the government will do those and achieve those things together.
Yeah. One of the elements of the grand plan was access to justice for victims and survivors. Has anything changed? You're saying that they can access police stations, that you're working to change those attitudes. What about the case then going to court? Do you have any details, anything that can tell South Africans at least more of those cases are being prosecuted properly? Police are handing the information over to the prosecutors, and people are going to jail.
Well, if you ask that, do people go to jail? Francis, let me tell you that there are many people that have been sent to prison because of the gender-based violence. We've got about 4,728 that are doing life. For you to be sentenced to life, which means that the first portion that is done by the police was done properly, and then the courts have helped us going forward to give what we believe are the relevant and equal sentences to the crime committed. Yes, one thing maybe that one didn't mention is that there is working together between the prosecution and the police, even in preparing the cases before they go to court. By the time they go to court, they are not withdrawn, they are well prepared, and then it's easy for the court to find its way going forward. There is a better working relationship. It could have been a problem, but we still do have some few of those problems. But we do work together between justice and between the police going forward.
Minister, before you leave us tonight, can I ask your personal opinion? I mean, look at this incredible stat put forward that the femicide rate in South Africa is 9 times higher than the global average. How do you think as a country we got there? And we're asking a simple but seemingly unanswerable question tonight. How do we end this?
Francis, as I come here, I've just received information about a 3-year-old young lady that was killed and thrown the veld somewhere in Johannesburg. She got lost last night. This is, as you have said, I think you correctly when you say it can't be answered today. But one thing I can also say, it cannot be just a security matter. I'll repeat myself. It's a societal matter. It's for all of us coming together. I think it's one area where we can stop the finger pointing and be united on the matter. If I say so, I mean communities, I mean families, I mean friends, I mean churches, I mean NGOs, everybody coming together on this one. I was listening to the brother of one lady that was picked up at Dawsonville, Mfaba, saying they've been going out with the boyfriend almost for 6 years. And he has tried 3 or 4 times to murder her before she was really murdered. So that's a question that the family need to really look at it. But the society and the community, the neighbors and the friends should pick up that point on the very first attempt of murdering it and spread it, take it to police, take it to everybody. It's one matter that I make a call, and the president did make a call, to say let's form a united front on this one and stop to point fingers to other people. Let's be part of solution. It's a big one that we can fight over it. It's a big one that we can't come. If we cannot be brought together by this one, nothing will bring us together.
All right. Thank you very much for your time tonight. That was the Minister of Police General Bheki Cele.